Greetings and welcome to my channel. This is Sorcerer Tal. You can also find me on Facebook in the Sorcerers Guild. Today on Magical Theory and Unorthodox Weirdery, we are going to be attempting to define Fnord. Okay, so Fnord. It's a strange word, yeah? It was first popularized in the Illuminatus trilogy by Robert Anton Wilson and Robert Shea, and has since then grown in the blooming Discordian community and then integrated into the larger Chaos community, and has since become one of the most popular inside jokes in that entire sphere of magic. Okay, so in order to talk about Fnords, we've got to talk about humor. There's a reason I called it an inside joke, yeah? And that is because it is humor. There is a humor within the concept of Fnord. Okay, so I think in order to find the definition of Fnord, we first need to define what a joke is. So what is a joke? A joke is a storyline to which the conclusion makes you realize that you misunderstood the premise of the storyline all along. I think one of the best ways to understand this definition and quite get how this works is with a demonstration, yeah? So I'm going to go ahead and tell a fairly cheesy Discordian joke, and then we will break it down. Okay, so a priest, a rabbi, and a Discordian walk into a bar. You think one of them would have ducked. Okay, so, like I said, it's a cheesy joke, but, we've got a priest, a rabbi, and a Discordian walk into a bar. And, of course, you're then picturing that they have walked into a bar, a tavern, and are going to sit down, order a drink. And in this case, the joke is actually taking advantage of the fact that there are a lot of jokes that start that way. A priest, a rabbi, and something, walk into a bar, and the bartender says yada yada. That's what you're expecting. Instead, I say, you think one of them would have ducked. And you realize that the story was actually about three men literally walking into a bar that was too low and their head smacked into the bar. Okay, so there we go. You have a storyline to which the conclusion makes you realize you were misunderstanding the premise of the story the whole time, and that's a Fnord. Fnords are the punchline there. Yeah, they are that conclusion. They are that realization, the punchline. But they are punchlines within your life, punchlines within reality. Yeah, this is those hidden things that give new meaning to things you thought you already understood within your reality. Yeah, that's a Fnord. Okay, so why am I talking about Fnords? How does this help us in our magic? Well, first of all, learning to see these Fnords helps us understand the base reality. And the more we understand the base reality, the more we are able to alter and change what is going on around us. By the base reality, of course, I mean the most solid truths that exist around us, our shared reality. That's for another video, but what we're looking for is to find that deeper understanding. Yeah, that's why we as sorcerers, even those of us that do not use chaos magic and are not in that community at all, can benefit from this idea of the Fnord. So how do we find Fnords? Well, the most obvious answer is in humor itself. Keep laughing, yeah? When things are funny. There is a saying, another saying in the Discordian community, it's not true unless it makes you laugh. Now, that might not be solid truth of everything, but it is a helpful rule of thumb for finding Fnords. Now, according to J, the trifold demigod hedgehog of destruction to the third power. There is a second part to this idea of it's not true unless it makes you laugh. And that is, but it's not. But you don't understand it until it makes you cry. And that's the problem with Fnords, yeah? They're a joke. But often, once we truly understand how they have changed the narrative, in a lot of ways, we are the butt of the joke, yeah? So that's why they say the only good Fnord is a dead Fnord, because you want to find these things. You want to remove the Fnords from your understanding of self. Yeah, this is the little bits of you that are not quite understood. This is shadow work in a way. So we can find some of these Fnords through shadow work and self-talk, like I have spoken about in other videos. But they're not just Fnords in the self. There are Fnords in everyday life. And I have an example of this as well. This isn't, there are more profound ones, but the Fnord is something you kind of have to get on your own, yeah? It's not funny if I have to explain the joke. But I'm going to break that fourth wall just one time and give you an example of a pretty obvious Fnord that you've probably been exposed to and not saw the punchline. Yeah? Okay, rubber chickens. What is a rubber chicken? This joke has been around forever. We all laugh at the rubber chicken. Well, some of us laugh. We all think it's pretty cheesy. And we definitely don't even necessarily think of it as a dirty joke. But what is this joke? Why is the rubber chicken funny? What was that first comedian thinking when he pulled the rubber chicken out of his bag? The rubber rooster, to give you a hint. Yeah? Well, clearly, this rubber cock is a dildo joke. And there's the Fnord. That changes your whole perspective of the rubber chicken, yeah? In a way. Because you're realizing this isn't necessarily the wholesome joke that we think it is. It's a dirty joke. Masquerading all over the place. Fozzie the Bear had a rubber chicken. Yeah? What other joke is there in the rubber chicken? It's got to be what it is. But it's not true unless it makes you laugh. Okay, so we can find these things through humor and mostly just with watching, keeping an eye on patterns, yeah? What storylines are you being told? Questioning the storyline, trying to follow the storyline to its conclusion is where we find the punchline often. Okay, so that will be it for this episode. Thank you once again for joining us. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take the opportunity to do so now. And until next time, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal.